Shekhar, can it be seen?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Great. Thank you so much. So, managing a manufacturing business in COVID times. My introduction already been through. Thank you, Shekhar, for making sound so nice. This is the flow of the program that we'll have for the day. So we'll go through the introductions, something we have already done, a quick word about what changes we see around ourselves, then economy overview, quick one, COVID overview, where we are. We'll do some stakeholder analysis. In fact, the thrust of the discussion will be around the stakeholder analysis. A quick summary slide, and then we'll have question and answers. So since this is a general audience, in the sense the manufacturing industry has a lot of diversity in it, right from discrete manufacturing to continuous process manufacturing. This is a general presentation. Question and answers, we can get into specifics if need be. I'll try to keep the presentation time as 20 minutes, question and answers another 20 minutes, total time of 40 minutes. We'll still have some time available. We can certainly make the best of it. And of course, during this program, I'll share whatever wisdom and thoughts I have acquired. This is more of an advisory presentation that I have, nothing mandatory about it. All you people are successful entrepreneurs and you know the business. So these are the opportunities where we get to learn from each other. So getting into the meat of the discussion. So last year has seen some rapid changes. Last year has seen unprecedented changes. We have seen, for example, customer demand changing suddenly. One is the variety that the customer wants, and then the way the customer wants, and the quantities the customer wants. Our supplies have got disrupted. Money availability has become an issue for some. Some have managed it well, some have not been able to. People leaving. So where we were already in many areas, already people crunch, talent crunch is there. We find that retaining people became a big challenge. We saw lockdowns. We saw, of course, corona infections, unfortunately, disrupting our lives. So if I were, this is an incomplete list. I'm sure we have seen much greater impact coming our way. In one line, if I have to summarize, what I'd say is that we have moved away from a relative stability to high level of uncertainty around us. So we will move into now for a quick overview of the economy, how things are at the moment. So just yesterday, we found both Moody's and S&P Global Ratings reducing the forecast of our GDP from close to 13%, 12 to 13% was what was most of the economists had forecasted. That has now come down to more like a 9 to 10%. And moving forward, we may actually say still further some reduction coming in this. However, by and large, the India story is still intact, and this seems to be fine. If you look at how the retail...
Sorry for the interruption. Your slides are not moving, sir.
Slides are not... Are you able to see this?
I can see the main slide, the first slide. You can move to the next slide, sir.
So I'm on the next slide.
But here, if you can reboot it again, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you able to see the movement now?
No, sir. No, sir. You can close it and once again restart it, sir.
Oh, so 1 minute. So sorry. I didn't realize that this is what is happening. Shekhar, can you see the next slide now?
No, sir. It's stuck up in first slide. Can you mail it to me, sir? I will try and do it. In the meantime, you can continue your presentation, sir. You can mail it to me.
Now, if it is not visible, then there is no point in me sharing it, or let me, instead of sharing from a window, but
now
you
it's
are able
moving,
to
sir.
see the,
Now it has come, sir.
now it's come.
moving.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Okay, now it's
Go
okay.
to the
Now
next slide, sir.
Okay, just a minute. So it is visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now also?
Go to the next slide, sir.
Yeah. Can you see flow of the program visible?
No, sir. Your profile is there. That's all. It's stuck in the profile.
Maybe there is some lag because I'm already beyond that.
No, you change to the slide mode, sir. I
Huh.
think it may move.
So
And now it's coming, sir.
now
The
it's coming. So
third-
maybe the slide mode is an issue. Yeah. So should I do the presentation in this only then, or but then that'll kind of take the experience away. Is it visible
Yes,
now?
it is now moving.
It is now moving.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Okay. And is it visible also?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Or just 1 minute. Let me try another technique. Sorry for taking this time. But then maybe this may be working. What are you seeing at the moment?
Slide 4, sir.
What does it say?
Changes around us.
Changes around us. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Changes around us.
And has it moved now?
No.
Not yet, sir.
It has not. So that
Sir, in
means
the
I'll have-
bottom,
Yes, it is moving, sir. Now
now it is moving.
you are on the 5th slide, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
yeah,
press
yeah.
F5.
F5.
Yeah.
So F5 has given me the full presentation mode.
but not changed here.
Is it
Sir,
changing?
can you please share, put it in slide mode and then share the screen, sir? I think the screen sharing is on a different application.
Okay. If I were to do that, then no, I think what I'll do is I'll share the presentation from this mode only. So you're able to see this particular view. That is when the slide show, the slideshow view is not there. You can read this for the moment. So maybe I'll just take you through this.
Sorry for the interruption. You can also send by email to Mr. Shekhar. Shekhar can put it there.
I'll do that. I'll just do that.
That may be the better idea, sir.
Let me do that. Shekhar, I have sent the presentation to you. I have pressed the send button.
Okay, sir. I will. In the meantime, you please continue, sir. I will take care.
I'll do that. I'll do that. Meanwhile, I'll just again start the presentation here.
No, that is not possible.
Okay, the first slide is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So we have already been through the now. We've already been through introduction. So flow of the program, this is what I was sharing. So we'll be spending totally 40 minutes in a structured manner. So introductions, changes around us, economy overview, COVID overview, stakeholder analysis, thrust of discussion we'll do around this, and then we'll have a summary and then question and answers. I request each one of you to note down whatever questions you have for me. I'll be very happy to take it after the 20 minutes of presentation. So the changes around us that we have seen is that we have seen the customer demands have significantly changed, supplies have got disrupted, money availability has become an issue for some, people have been leaving, a big issue has been the people related issues, and then of course we saw the lockdowns and we have seen the corona infections shooting up, and this is an incomplete list. We can of course expand this list if need be. Let's look at where we are when we look at the Indian economy for the moment. So if you look at the Indian economy, so the forecast that is there as of yesterday, Moody has downgraded it from 13 to 9.3, and S&P has also downgraded it to about 9.8 now. So on the whole, the economy is still slated to grow at one of the fastest in the world for the moment, and this is good news for all of us when we are talking as businessmen. The retail inflation also seems to be under control. So on a year-on-year basis, we are seeing a degrowth coming down rather to 4.29%. So this is a kind of an indicator. And the stock market also has been healthy. Nifty has moved over a period of a year from about 9,000 to about 14,000. Of course, this percentage of 55% is a bit misleading because the Nifty had plummeted also due to the COVID situation earlier. But nevertheless, the graph is moving in the right direction. Now let's see what COVID has to say. So this COVID slide is little cluttered slide for the moment. So maybe for this slide only, I'll take it to the slide view. So this will expand it for the moment. So here we are seeing the 3 data points. What we are saying is that when we are comparing with some of the other countries, the confirmed new cases, the good news for India is that we are seeing some kind of a peaking happening, and now a downward trend has started over here. This red line that we see over here is America. So America has seen 2 peaks. I'm ignoring the first. America has seen this peak over here sometime in July 2020, and then it saw another cluster of peaks around January this year. And then of course, America has brought it down successfully. India saw something in September 2020 peaking over here. And then we have also seen the recent peaking in the month of April that happened. The lockdowns that have happened are showing some result over here, and we can see the downward trend. In terms of the deaths that we are seeing around it, unfortunately, we are going to see more deaths coming our way. Deaths in terms of number of deaths per lakh of population, if we compare with other countries, Italy is about 200, USA is about 177, France is about 160, and India is at 19. So this green graph that we see, this graph is the India graph, and then we have France over here, then we have USA, and then we have there is one extra line I think over here. So we have Italy, we have USA, we have France, and we have India. So while nobody wants death, however, let's be realistic about it. India is going to see more deaths coming our way. So this data is of Johns Hopkins University, USA, and this is as of yesterday. Where we are in terms of other countries, European countries, if we see, so Hungary, Italy, Brazil, Peru, these are some of the top countries over here which have got very high level of death rates. And here at the bottom, India is somewhere over here in terms of ranking. India, Indonesia, Philippines, Pakistan is what is indicated over here. So this just does give kind of an indication of what we are likely to see in terms of fatalities resulting from this COVID pandemic. Now, moving to the next topic where we get into the heart of the discussion and what it means to us businessmen, the entrepreneurs who are there in this forum, is let's do the stakeholder analysis. What all has changed with these stakeholders, and what can I do as an owner to bring about a change? So stakeholders, who's a stakeholder? Stakeholder is any party that has an interest in your business, and it can either affect it or it can be affected by the business. So either it impacts the business directly or it gets impacted by the business. And we are, so you are all successful entrepreneurs. You already know it. This is just to make a recap. So customers are right on the top. Customer is one of the biggest stakeholders for us. Our reason for existence is that. And then we have people. Without people, managing business becomes very difficult, rather impossible. Suppliers and partners are the third important stakeholders. And then, of course, you yourself, the individual, the owner has an expectation which is unique to the individual. So you yourself are also a stakeholder. And then, of course, the society, the neighbors, the ecosystem in which we are existing. So these are the 5 stakeholders. And what we will do over the next 5 to 10 minutes is go through each of these stakeholders and understand what all has changed for them. And what all can I, as an entrepreneur, as an owner, do something about it? Now, let's look at what the customers mean to us and what has changed for us now. Customers indeed are the most important stakeholders. Our business is dependent on our relationship with our customers. And aligning our business to the new customer needs is critical for our survival. And now, what all is the customer wanting now? So customer, of course, is now looking for, there is a greater demand for more of a touchless products around us. There's a greater demand for sanitization happening around us. And customers also are looking for safety, security, assurance. And so labels, what kind of a packaging, what kind of a labeling I am doing on my product to indicate that it is safe. So a lot of customers giving tremendous importance to packaging and labeling. And of course, another expectation the customers have now is both the availability and the transactions all should be done on the internet. So broadly speaking, these are the bullet points on what the new customer is really wanting. And now what can I do as the owner, as the decision maker of this entrepreneur, of this enterprises? Is the basics. One is ensure the basic hygiene in the manufacturing. So here what we say is start implementing on 5S. Many of you would have already done so. If you have not done it, then this is a very good start point at this moment to do so. Next, what you can do ultimately is to start working on contactless processes within manufacturing. That means people do not touch the product. Hands free. So bring in robotics, bring in automation, use that both to curtail your costs and use that also for branding purposes and for educating the potential customers. It's an excellent marketing tool as well. Invest in your packaging and labeling to infuse confidence in the customer, and invest in IT and e-commerce. And 5th point, what I'm indicating over here is create structures and processes for innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, our last 1 year has clearly indicated the time to market that is required is no more a theoretical requirement that people want something in 2 months or 3 months. The market now actually expects things in weeks. Shifts both in the changes that have to happen on the product or a service, as well as the scheduling that happens around with it. So unless there are clear structures and processes for innovation and rapid changing, it may become difficult. The way things were 12 months ago, the way things were 2 years ago, we are certainly not in that same world. The world has changed. We need to change our processes, and we of course need to change our mindsets that come along with it. We have next is on the people front. So people are your assets, and you employ them so that you can deliver the products and services to your customers. You and your business, of course, depends on the knowledge, skills, and the attitude of your people. And what are your people really looking and expecting from you? So people want a safe and COVID secure work environment. People also are looking for flexibility. And people are also looking for reskilling. So now what can you do as an owner, as the decision maker, as the owner of the enterprise? So on the people front, I think the number one right on the top is you need to identify your star performers. Your star performers are the ones that are getting you the business. They are the ones with whom, without them, you will not be able to really survive. Within your enterprise, you can make a COVID safety committee of workers and staff, involve people in this decision-making process. You as the owner should be the chairman. You need to meet and review on a weekly basis at the minimum and implement the suggestions. Now, target reduction of your workforce. People on one side, they're certainly assets. People can very soon become liabilities. This is also what we have seen in the last 12 months. A good figure to target is 30% reduction in workforce, headcount wise. Don't look at the costing, look at the headcount. That means if you have currently doing something with 10 people, bring it down to 7 or even lower. So 30% is the minimum you need to aspire. Next is respect all employees by holding fixed time meetings. The work from home culture, remotes, that has given a lot of flexibilities, and sometimes we as owners are not sensitive to the needs of the employees, and we feel an employee is available at any time. Pick up the phone, give a call, check the number. It may be a 30-second call, but it may impact the employee the wrong way. So release your calendar, hold fixed time meetings, use Zoom, use Google Meet, do whatever that needs to be done, fixed to the schedule. Bullet point number 5, make flexible salary packages. Markets are volatile. Salaries can also have some variation coming in with it. So we are all, most of us are now above subsistence level. At the worker level, maybe one can look at still a fixed package because the person needs that predictability. But a senior staff, sales team can all move to more flexible salary packages. Next, do not hesitate to give new tools such as laptops, phones, data charges, work from home facilities to your people. This is now going to be the way of life. Number 7 is, I'll say, the most important piece right now from the people perspective, and that is the training and reskilling. Last 12 months has exposed us to the vulnerabilities. Suddenly we find we do not have those skills that we really need. And this need for skills is going to change. Old skills or existing skills will become obsolete very soon. New skills will be needed very rapidly. Do not wait for COVID to stop. Start the training and reskilling process right now. Bullet 8 is about relayouting your processes. This is to bring in safety and security from COVID. So bring in social distances. Last 12 months, I'm sure most of you, perhaps all of you, have already done this. So relayouting for security, relayouting for automation. Minimize touching by human beings. And bullet point number 10 is the human part. We are all human beings. You as a leader need to speak to your people. You need to speak to their families. You need to stay connected. You need to keep inquiring, how are you? How is your family? And this is an investment. Speak to your people, communicate your plans. Communicate your plans. Share with them data. Things are going good, share the good data. Things are going bad, share the bad data. Be as transparent as you possibly can be. Okay, we have covered the people. This is the most important one in this. And then, of course, we have the suppliers and partners. You cannot run your business without your suppliers and partners. They are the ones who supply you with the raw materials, components, packaging, transportation, etc. Partners, what do they need? They need timely payments. They need picking of material as per schedule, healthy communication. So these expectations have not really changed much. But now What do we do now that COVID has hit us? Identify your key suppliers. So you may need to shed some of them, identify the key ones, work closely with them. Need to see your key suppliers as an extension of your family, working closely with them. Next is shorten and simplify your supply chain. Think local. It is now time to think local. Buying local may be a little expensive, but reliable supply chain is more important than those few pennies that get saved because you are buying from a distance. So buy from the same industrial area if possible, buy from the same district if possible, buy from the same state if possible, and work with smaller lots. Plan for multiple supplies during the week. So no more one supply for the month or two supplies for the month. Plan for 2 to 3 supplies during the week. And of course, insist on COVID safety with them, because your people who are going to touch them in your factory, in your shop floor, they should be comfortable. And make suppliers as your partners in innovation of new products. Okay, we go to the next stakeholder, and the next stakeholder is you yourself. After all, you also have an expectations, your needs, your expectations, your aspirations, long-term goals, short-term goals, all need to be met. And you would like more predictability, more sustainability. As I said, we are in uncertain times, we are in volatile times, and so while it may be a tall task, but we still, for business, need as much predictability as we can possibly get. Now the thought process is that COVID is here to stay. COVID is not going to go away soon. Please do plan for wave 3 and wave 4. So make plans assuming the volatility that we have seen over the last 3 months. And now, what can I do about myself? So first is more of a mindset. Here we say that survival is more important than profitability. Higher margins can wait for a moment. If there is a challenge between the two, then survival, of course, is more important. Target not to make losses. Don't make losses. Need not target very high level of profitability. Survival is the most important part in this. Cut down on your fixed costs, whatever they may be. Shut down offices if you have. Let people work from home. Those of you who have got sales and marketing would be having this as one of your big overheads. Some may have manpower as a high fixed cost. This we have already touched. Target about 30% or more reduction in that. Bullet point number 3, you all know it. Cash is king. Sell your non-performing assets if need be. Do not worry too much about, I purchased at X, now I'm selling at Y, and Y is less than X. Don't worry on that. Cash in hand is more important. Your survival is more important. Invest in IT, invest in information technology, invest in e-commerce. This is the future. This is the future. If you have been postponing your small ERP, this is the time to get into it. There is no better time. There's no such thing as I will wait for COVID to go away and then I'll do all this. No, this has to be done right now. Do all that needs to be done by being on WhatsApp with customers if need be. Use other e-commerce tools. There are plenty of them available. There is no one size fit all. So depending upon your nature of business, you need to look at this. But the main point that I'm trusting is do it now. Plan for training and skilling, reskilling, already covered earlier, re-emphasizing it again and again. Training and reskilling at the end of the day is somewhere your responsibility. One may say that, I'll get somebody who's already skilled in it. Data shows that if you reskill somebody who's already worked with you for the long enough time, who has demonstrated loyalty being with you, will have greater retention. So desirable to reskill your existing people. Do not get tempted that I'll get a ready-made person from outside. It's a very tempting thought, but data shows that data shows, my experience shows that those people who come easy, they go easy. Bring in automation, relay out production processes, buy local, employ local, sell local. This will substantially reduce risk. So the risk of geographies, the risk of pandemic across geographies, risk of distances, you will be able to curtail. Review your credit terms. I'm sure all of you have done that already. Talk to your suppliers and distributors at least once a week. Just a 2-minute call is good enough. Morale checking is important, and this will help you do all your sensing that you need to. And finally, this is again a repeat point, make structures and resource partnerships for innovation. This will be both for your employees as well as for your supplier partners. And of course, this is the most important slide in a way. You are the leader. You are the leader. You need to inspire and motivate others to do the best under these challenging times. You need to keep your chin up all the time. You need to demonstrate that we can ride through these rough weather as well. Then we come to the last stakeholder. Last stakeholder for us is our neighbors. Our neighbors, our ecosystem. After all, we are sharing common infrastructure with our neighbors, the roads, the electricity, the water. Be in touch with them. Be in touch with them. You have an expectation that your neighbor is a good neighbor. Your neighbor also has an expectation that his neighbors are good neighbors. So build relationships, ensure that you are a responsible neighbor, and build partnerships for tackling common issues. So you'll have a lot of common issues coming up during this COVID times. You need to have sufficient relationship to pick the phone and resolve the matters. So now we are coming towards the end of our slide. All the points that I have covered so far, I'm going to kind of bring it together in a kind of summary. So these are the 5, the big ones. What I'll say is, in these times of uncertainty, what we really need are flexible operations. We need innovative mindset for bringing new products and services in a very, very short time. You need to identify your stars. You need to reskill your manpower and put them in training sessions right now. Target reduction of headcount. Manpower by 30%. Do automation simultaneously. And finally, adopt the information technology and software in a much greater depth. So this is the last slide. And now we have question and answers. I'll close this presentation so that I can see you people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. The floor is open to questions. Please start asking your questions.
So good evening, sir. I'm
Good evening.
Srinivasan, Vice President from Lagu Udyog Bharati, Karnataka. I also run a small scale industry. And
Good
your
evening.
presentation was all right on our, the focus was very much on the situation of that's happening in the micro and small industry sector. And I would like to have your reply on how, the infrastructure in our electronics and manufacturing industries over the years has taken a backseat compared to what the infrastructure is available in the rest of the world, in Taiwan, China, Korea. And we find that there is no way for the electronic manufacturing nowadays, due to non-availability of components in this part of the world. What do you have to say? Because most of the time we have to import 90% of our components from various other countries to make an equipment. Your point.
Your point is valid. Your point is very valid. We have missed this great opportunity, not once, on at least 3 waves if we see. And if you ask me, the answer to this is largely political in nature. It is the government policies that decided somewhere in the last 20 years, we suddenly became, too much of what I'd say China factory oriented. China is the cheapest factory to the world. Let's go there. So since A is going there and B is going there, so then D, E, and F, everybody decided to go to China. So if to answer your question, so this is a more of a political policy related issue. We all have the capability to do things over here. We need to think long term. For long term, we need to do some sacrificing in the short term. Sacrificing in the short term is to ensure that we are not getting tempted by the cheapest cost available. We are paying a very heavy price. As you rightly said, the heavy price we are paying is that we need to 90% is to be imported.
Thank you, sir.
So we have a question from Dr. Sundaramurthy. What is your suggestion on diversification?
Diversification in terms of getting into a new industry altogether, or getting into a new product line within the same industry?
New product line and different areas also, both.
So this is a double-edged weapon. On one side, we need to look at the existing product. If the existing product line is already in its maturity curve and we are seeing greater opportunities, we need to, innovation, as I said, was an important part of what we need to do. We need to innovate, we need to think. And so diversification, to answer in one word, is yes, we need to diversify. And of course, there is a risk appetite to it. We need to, so there is no one single answer to it. So there is a risk with anything new that we try out. And so we need to make a very careful, balanced assessment of our own strengths and weaknesses, of our capabilities, and how much money I'm putting at stake.
There's a supplementary question, sir, from Dr. Sundaramurthy. Is it the right time for investments in machines and processes?
Why not? Certainly, this is the right time. There is going to be no other time. Let's be clear. What are we postponing for? For the COVID to go away? What doesn't go for the next 24 months? This is the time. This is the time to invest in machineries. This is the time to get into automation. When I say automation, I'm talking about labor-saving devices. I'm talking about equipment that gives greater precision, greater repeatability. This is the time.
Sir, I'm Narayan Prasanna here.
Yes,
sir, is it investment in IT and software is economical in this situation for MSMEs?
You don't have a choice. Let's be clear. There are various models available for MSMEs where the affordability is taken care of. So the sooner you adopt IT, softwares, the new ways of working, the tools, greater will be your benefit. Do not delay.
So there is a question from Dr. Anil Shirahatti. Please, can you suggest some ERP software from the MSME point of view, sir?
So I have a friend in Bangalore, and he specializes in softwares for MSME. So that is his niche area. So I will share his details with Shekhar, and then you can contact him.
Sir, good evening, sir. My name is Pandian, sir, from Motherland Garments.
Yes, sir.
I have two questions, sir. One is you are telling to invest on machinery.
Yes.
Which I did in first wave. And because of that, all my cash, this thing, everything got blocked now. And the second point, what I am seeing in the whole industry, that all the industry is not affected in the same way. Because some of my close friends, they did almost thrice their turnover, particularly battery manufacturers, food, pharma, and some only 20-25% of the industry moves the other side. The other 75% industry is doing great, I believe. What is your opinion on this, sir?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. So there is a shift in the markets. There's a clear shift. So the three industries which you have talked of, they have certainly got the benefit. Meaning pharma, it's a no-brainer. We are all looking for medicine these days, and so are some of the other industries. So yes, there are uncertainties, and so there'll be swings. So it's unfortunate that your machinery, the way you had planned for your capacity expansion, that has not happened. You should talk to your similar people. Meaning, this is also I forgot to mention one very important point. These COVID times are also times to reach out to your competitors. Reach out to your competitors, people you have been otherwise fighting for a market share. Reach out to them, tell them you have a spare capacity lying and you would like it to be used. You'll be making similar products, so I'm assuming there are similar machines. So this is not the time to fight amongst yourself for that share of pie. This is the time for survival. So reach out to your competition.
Unfortunately, things have become ulta, sir, actually, because of the availability of less work. People are ready to do any rate for their survival. Unfortunate situation. What is going on is really unfortunate.
This is bound to
in our industry.
We
are the big people like Reliance and other people are killing the whole market. Actually, they can any rate there. People are in their lifetime they have not done this trade. Actually, to that level, people are doing it.
Oh.
In fact, sir, we are having a session tomorrow on the same subject, competitions and synergies between companies.
Okay.
So please share your presentation to everybody.
I have already shared it with Shekhar. So Shekhar can you can take it forward.
We'll do that. Thank you. Yes. Anybody else? Please go ahead and ask the questions. Don't let Dr.
Sundarmurthy. I have I want to add a suggestion.
Yeah.
As a MSME and a small unit, we always think of doing everything in-house and ourselves, including accounts, including many of the operations. I think we should really think of outsourcing a lot of activity, which will save a lot of overheads on employees, salaries, and things like that, which we normally don't do. Outsourcing means we are giving some secrets to them. So we don't do that. But I suggest, you can think about it and give suggestion. I'm telling to all my co-industrialists that this is the time to think of outsourcing a lot of operations.
Excellent point. This is an excellent point. And the ERP, I mentioned about my Bangalore friend who makes small or rather low cost ERPs for the small scale industries. So he also provides these outsourced services where his accountants will take care in a remote way of all outsourcing that needs to be done. So you're absolutely right. So whatever is our core competency, we need to stick to that. And the ancillary related work of things like accounts and all can always be outsourced. Yes, indeed. Excellent.
Sir, an additional point to make, sir.
Yeah.
It's while it looks very sexy to kind of go behind the ERPs.
Yeah.
45% of SAP file implementations worldwide are a failure.
Yeah.
Fundamentally because the organization implements the ERP and uses it like a empowered Excel sheet.
Yeah.
So there is a competency shift that is also important. Minus that, all the money that goes into an ERP goes waste. So there is a certain human side of the ERP implementation that also needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So we need to really know what we are getting into before an ERP implementation is taken care of.
Yeah.
So
very valid point. I fully agree with you. So first of all, ERP doesn't only mean SAP. SAP is a very sophisticated system. It is not meant for everybody. It is meant for maybe very large multinational 10,000 crore, 20,000 crore companies. So we need to just go from Excel to the next level. Excel has the issue of controls in the sense, cells being not protected adequately and things like that. So if we have to scale up a little bit, then, the owner has to go beyond the Excel and he should be able to delegate to somebody else. And so, as I said, there are now simpler, not as sophisticated as SAP ERPs which are available. And so we should not shy away from going there.
True.
Sir,
So
I
there's
have a question. Can I have 1 minute of your time, sir? I have a question for you.
Sure, please.
Sir, at the most difficult time for us to retain our customers, do you have any suggestions how to retain our customers during COVID times?
This is a difficult one. So you need to my meaning the as a very general answer, what I can say is talk to them regularly, understand what their shifting needs are. If they are planning a shift, you need to know why they are shifting. You need to know their minds. So you need to know your customer.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So there is a question again from Dr. Anil. Is it right to employ the students passing out from college now?
If I may ask, what is hidden behind this question?
Sir, I'm asking you not from that point of view. As a parent, I'm asking if my child is getting passed out.
Yes.
It's very difficult to employ now. So,
Yes.
as a CSR activity, how I can help them?
It's actually a difficult question to answer because its situation is going to be very unique. I also know of people who are taking employment these days. They're working on remote basis. Personally speaking, my son took a job about 8-9 months ago or so. So he's balancing that out. He's going for once in a fortnight physical meeting. Rest of the meetings are done through Zoom, etc. So there is no one right answer to it. This is something very situational where one needs to balance the risk versus the opportunity that is there in front of us.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Please don't let Sri Charanjeev Singh go so easily. It's very difficult to get him. Go ahead and ask your questions.
I have one question.
Yes, please.
Sir, I'm myself Sandeep Parvatikar. I run a company called Unnati CNC Technologies.
Yes,
we
sir.
manufacture component. We are into B2B.
Okay.
About the last 5-6 years, we have changed our strategies from high volume, low margin to low volume, high margin business.
Sure.
So I'm talking to some industry leader. You are suggesting, no, I did a wrong thing. What important is the top line, not a bottom line. So I'm worried whether I did a right thing or I have to look at my strategies.
If I were to give a suggestion with whatever data you have given me so far, I would say high margin product. High margin product. If volumes are low, try to make them high. Why do you want to have more headaches, and for every headache you want to make only a small margin out of it? So I have a difference of opinion from the person who gave you the suggestion. I'd stick to high value, and high value. If it is low volume for the moment, see how I can make it high volume.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, Yagnanarayan Kamaja, sir, any questions?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead, sir.
So you're specifically asking me some to be operated. I listened the lecture very carefully. See, there are small scale industries and MSMEs who are entirely dependent as a contract manufacturing to big companies. Now, when the big companies are getting hurt, their purchase and material executives to save their companies will come after us to negotiate even at this toughest time. Already we have got screwed up, and then when somebody is coming said you reduced by 10%, it hurts. Not only hurts, you are demotivates to continue the business. For example, the stainless steel prices have gone to 30% high. All the materials have gone more than 20-25% high. We are fixing the prices last 2 years to companies to buy our products. So I calculate even the paisa you calculate and give him that total transparency as much as it we are naked there with them. they will not allow or talk or listen to your requirement, because they say that their jobs are going, and why should we? If you are interested, you give this component. Otherwise, we are going into somebody else. As some gentleman said, there is a competition so much so sure that there is no life left. This is MSME's ego. MSME's the today's state of affair. Well, as you already covered, we don't have any tool to reduce the prices as per today's circumstances. Because I will tell you my example. This is all for the entrepreneurs to understand. I'm in a very high labor-oriented MSMEs. I got 5 units employing 800 people, and we depend on Rajkot for 5-6 products. There about 300-400 of them are depend on us. Now you see, the COVID has made last year 12 months turnover has become 50% of the turnover of the previous year. Now we thought at least by January, February, March we are okay and we are coming to some line. Now the second COVID nobody imagined that the spread of the COVID is like this, and then so many people will be dying. It is not even last year we did not even thought that this kind of a thing will come in. Now again the companies are getting closed. More than 100% of the retail shops are closed. And economy is going for a 6, and the buying power of average Indian is becoming less than half. I don't think Mrs. Sitaraman can give another 146 crores, etc., like what America has done it. Now inflation is also coming to rise, because people are not giving any material increase to us, and we are making 50% of our production. At that rate, that material increase itself, we are not able to make it. We will be doing some social service to the branded companies to buy. So under these circumstances, we are in a dilemma of a pressure, psychological pressure on the SME running. This is my observation. I don't see anybody can answer for contract manufacturer. Nobody can answer any rule, because people say that HAL will buy that, BML will buy that. All that is it's not really going to happen. Public sector will not pay you 90 days. Although RBI says that 30 days, it's not going to be implemented. The big companies now taking an opportunity, they will screw you and not to support you. Except some 10-15 companies I am known of, except the Tata groups and things of that kind will come and handhold you. But not many are going to handhold you. They will only opportunists, they will try to make their profit up. So under these circumstances, my advice to the customer, my SMEs friends, conserve your resources very well. Don't make any attempt to invest anything, because we are expecting third and fourth wave, etc. And the economy is not going to be all that. These are all cooked up figures. I'm not pessimist, but I'm saying all over the world there is a problem. So who will buy all that products that you are doing? It's not possible. The Maruti's sale will not come to that peak point in next 3 to 4, 5 months. And Maruti's supply chain will be disturbed unimaginable. I'm telling you this. In fact, today's newspaper says the two-wheelers, whomever is the dealers and retailers who have given Bajaj Finance and their EMIs are not getting, there are 2 things happening. The boy who got the two-wheeler is also getting screwed up. The Bajaj Finance who loaned also is getting a problem. So I am not pessimistic, but we will have to be very cautious about this. And resource constraint, people constraint. For example, my 800 people, 400 of people have gone again back to Orissa and West Bengal and then Assam. Last year I sent them by luxury buses, spending so much of money. My total cost of keeping idle 500 people for last year is about 68 lakhs. This year I didn't expect it to happen again, and they are already left. We are feeding them for all the 3 months, keeping them in the hostels. No output, no productivity. Now I didn't expect again to happen like this. Now we will be helter-skelter, because Karnataka will not give any skilled manpower for our labor-oriented stuff. We are depending again and again on this place. So the story is the same for all the Pina or Bana, our Bomasandra, Veersandra, all industrial estate. It is same situation. If only the Orissa and West Bengal and Bihari people come here, our manufacturing will go ahead. It is true for even 20-30 people team, there will be 50% outsiders. So with this kind of a thing, the future of MSMEs, even government give you sun ray or silver ray finish, I am very pessimistic. We have to be very cautious. This is my observation, and if any tonic given to my observation, I am welcome to hear you, sir.
Thank you for your insights.
There's one more question, sir, from Pala Subramaniam Santanam.
Sure.
Stakeholder management has become different from pre-COVID times for MSMEs. How to fill this need?
You need to be a little more specific. What
Mr.
exactly?
Balasubramaniam, can you come online, please?
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Yes,
Please
can you
please.
hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
The buyers and consumers have become very different in their expectations. That is what I wanted to than what was pre-COVID times.
Sure.
So how do we satisfy the consumers and buyers than what it was during the pre-COVID times? That is what I wanted to.
We need to understand their changing needs. So their needs, consumer needs are changing, and we need to align to their changing needs. There'll be some amount of guesswork also that will go into it. Everybody doesn't tell you precisely what they need. We need to anticipate and gear up for it. This is the biggest challenge, and these things are going to change every 6 months. What they need now may change after 6 months. And so to that extent, our planning horizon also needs to be aligned to it.
Okay, one last question. We're running out of time. Can we take one last question? Okay. Thanks a lot, sir, for the comprehensive session.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shekhar. Thank you, Suresh, for bringing me here. Thank you, everybody. Lovely interacting with you guys. Thank you so much.
We sincerely appreciate you for so readily accepting our invitation, sir, and addressing our members. I'm sure my members will be benefiting out of this exhaustive insights. On behalf of Laghu Udyog Bharati, I once again thank you, sir. I would like to inform the participants that tomorrow we have a very interesting session on increasing competition is posing fresh challenges for MSMEs, how to re-strategize business, by Mr. Ramesh Subramaniam. He's a domain expert for manufacturing and marketing. Thank you very much for all the participants.
Shekhar, can I speak, please? Shekhar.
Yes, sir, please, sir.
Yeah, Charanjeev, are you there? Charanjeev?
Yes, left.
Charanjeev, okay. On behalf of Charanjeev and other team members of mine, I can assure Mr. Yagna Karanje, who spoke at length about the 800 people problems, because he's one of the biggest MSMEs, I believe, in this group as of now, as I see it. If he needs any help, our team will be there to help him. And if that solution, what is going to help him, helps others, we can model it for others also. This can be done gratis. We can see the solution out, and then we will see what should be done. Let's help the companies. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We officially close the session.